And welcome to episode 28 of the Mufasa podcast. My name, as always, is Sen Maina, and I'm joined today by the amazing senator from the ruling party, Senator Veronica Maina mwenyewe. Karibu sana senator kwenye show.
Thank you very much.
Asante sana. And before we continue, our Swahili saying of today is riziki huwezi ukaiziba, labda ukaichelewesha tu. And the theme behind that today is we're here with a heroine who has propelled a party to power from the ground to the top in one election, and she's done it before. And she's here to tell us her story and other insights of politics. Senator, karibu sana.
Asante sana. Thank you so much for having me.
Walikuwa wamekuulizia sana, especially the ladies on the show. They wanted to see the first woman to ever do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel honored and humbled. Thank you for giving me a chance at this podcast. I actually don't think I've appeared before podcast. So Mufasa is the place to be, I think.
It is definitely. Especially if you're a policy and a lawmaker in Kenya.
Yeah.
This is definitely where you'll be. Senator, while we're still on the topic of being the first lady to propel a woman to power, can you talk to us about the behind the scenes of what it took to get President William Ruto in the seat he currently is?
A lot of work. A load of work. And a lot of teamwork.
Yeah.
And a lot of focus. And a determination to push until you win. You know, sometimes when you're doing a hard project or a difficult project, you must be so determined to do all that it takes for you to succeed. And sometimes success doesn't just come because of money or, you know, because sometimes people confuse success and money. There are many times you will succeed, not because you had it all together, but more because you had such a sharp focus, you were dedicated to the task, and you woke up and took the little steps that you needed to take every day consistently. The important word is consistency. And then the goodwill from the people. If it's a people project, like what we had was a people assignment. And if you're on a people assignment, the one thing you have to do is to love the people. I always say, if you want to do anything with the people, love the people, be dedicated, and don't be a pretender or hypocritical about it. Love the people, because people will bring in so much resource to you. They are God's gift to the community. They bring in so much resource such that when you are strong in one area, others will be strong in other areas. And don't be intimidated by heavily talented people. So for me, it took hard work, a lot of prayers, trusting the teams that we were working with, respecting the teams that you're working with, and giving them the confidence that you trust them, that you believe in what they are going to do. And then a lot of organization. You equally cannot be disorganized in what you're doing and hope that you can win. So you will find that when we took over the party that changed into UDA, that party had a book value of 53,000 members who nobody even knew where they were. So maybe they were not even there. But according to the registrar records, there were 53,000 members when the party was registered. And then we turned that around to 8.9 million members. I must also say, one game changer that we had was our party leader. But here I started with the people. Because even a party leader cannot be made without the people. It's a people project.
It's a people's thing.
Now our party leader, the President of the Republic of Kenya, is a charismatic leader. You know, there are those leaders who have charisma. There are others who do not have the charisma. We had a great leader who believed, who first of all believed in the people and the teams that were working with him. And he always was listening to the views that we had about how we want to execute the work. He gave us the space. He gave me the space to execute my assignment. And because I wasn't, I don't know whether this is a secret I should give, I wasn't overconfident about myself. I always knew somehow if I'm left to do it alone without help from other corners, I will fail. And because of that, I respected everybody who came in with a skill. Because I knew if I need the doctors, I can't be a doctor. If I want something in the health sector, to understand health sector, I need the doctors to help me.
Yeah.
If it's education sector, I need the teachers to help me
Yeah.
understand that education sector. So, and I'm one person who feels very good to work with strong people who love their work, people who dedicate their time and energy to the task they have at hand. And I worked very well with them. I actually worked with very strong people. So I didn't have a problem working with the, you know, like our CAs, you see, like our CAs, Interior, Honorable Mulkomen, working with governors like Governor Susan Kihika. It was a sheer pleasure to co-work with strong people, strong team. A strong team can only make you look beautiful and make you look great. And make you look successful also. Because there are some people in their leadership style, they are very intimidated by when just a young person becomes strong, they are good in IT, they can do social media, you can't do it. They almost feel intimidated. Ideally, what I did, if someone has a strength, I protected them so that they can bring out that talent and that value to the work that they are supposed to do.
Wow. So the president gets elected, we all start the mandate of executing government. I think the first major big thing where we see your involvement is in the Shakahola committee.
Yeah.
Tell us what was happening. Because it naona kama news. Tulikuwa tunaona tunakuja na mara Mackenzie ameshikwa.
So umejump kwa Shakahola. Shakahola was really bad. But before I go to that, let me also say, because I'm a believer, and one thing I can't live to say, I can't leave behind without saying, is the fact that the win we got, it was God who helped us to win.
That's
get
important.
That win. That's important because we prayed a lot with the team that I had. And I remember some of them were feeling as though, hey, this Secretary General anashida tu mambo ya kanisa. Like, and every time, hey, you guys, let's pray about it. And I want to thank them. The coordinators worked in the 47 counties. I had a fantastic team of coordinators. If I leave this show without appreciating them, they'll wonder what is my problem. The people who registered the 8.9 million members was actually not Veronica Maina per se. I was ultimately responsible for it. But it was that team in the county. And some of them have continued being strong, working with the UDA party. And maybe some have felt like they were left out. Because I like being honest in conversations. I don't know how to do, by the way, the one you sugarcoat. I want you to know, by the way, that the party still values you. The party still values those coordinators. And if you show up and go to SG's office, you can stake a claim there and say, SG, this is our vision, we build it. So I'll ask you, don't run away. Don't give up on a vision that you worked so hard on. Come back. Come back home. Kuja nyumbani, pigia SG Hassan Omar. Mwambie sisi, we are the people, we are the founder coordinators. So those coordinators are really special, and I make a special mention of them. Both the constituency coordinators, the ward coordinators, the county coordinators. You are valued. You are valued. You're valued. We've tried to, when we come down, to really talk to you guys when we are down there in the counties, but don't feel like the party doesn't think about it. The party thinks about you.
Okay. Sasa tuende into the committee.
Sasa tuende Shakahola.
Si tulikuwa tunaona ka news. Kuna mtu alikuwa aitwa Mackenzie alishikwa. Tukaona nasikia tu mili ina what, because you happen now to be able to know at breath. What was happening there?
The story of Shakahola, you stay edged in the memory of many Kenyans because it is something that should never happen to any nation, that should never have happened. And I still say the people who live around there must always know that as a community we have an obligation to report or bring to the attention of authorities anything unusual that happens within our communities. Because when you talk about community policing, there's no community that can be policed by just the police officers alone or administration officers or security actors alone. It has to be a wholesome community thing so that some people don't face what they faced in Shakahola. I went there. I was part of the committee that was selected by Senate ad hoc committee that went to look into the issue of Shakahola. And I personally went, and we saw the bodies. Some were even, they were wrong, decomposed. So they were just body bags that held, the skeletal structure of the bodies. So it was terrible. It shouldn't happen. And when it was now linked to a religion or a cult, I wouldn't even call it a religion because it's cultic. It's completely cultic and not acceptable. And the doctrine they were using, misleading doctrine on vulnerable people who couldn't answer, being lied to that they are going to heaven. There is a day they are supposed to go to heaven. So they are made to fast. So we found they were made to fast for days, and the worst story was even women and children were involved in that. There are some who are rescued. And the shocking thing was, after they are rescued and they are put in a camp, when they have a chance, they run away and go back. They had been so indoctrinated. And I must say, we felt that many people had not been too alert or too cautious, because when Mackenzie started preaching the wrong doctrine, and I think even as different faiths must be very alert when a wrong doctrine comes up from one of the faiths, to start cautioning people that the doctrine has gone off. Because you see, they didn't just wake up and go to Shakahola. Initially, I'm told Mackenzie was running a church, isn't it, in Malindi? Somewhere. It kept moving until it moved in the bush. Then he quite really indoctrinated and lied to them, radicalized them, so that they were even people who are educated were made to leave their work, resign from work, sell all their property and go there. They had named places. It was really sad. They had named part of the forest. So he says that is Nazareth, that's Bethlehem, that is what. So we found different corners.
Nazareth.
Yeah. And then we even found where he was staying. He's even put a place where it's like a lobby, very simple, shaky lobby where he would sit under the tree. I'm told there were judging cases under those trees for any issues that arose. The disputes would be resettled there. And the worst was children, 2, 3, 4 years. Imagine, they died under those very difficult circumstances. You can imagine when the society fails to guard even the minors, so that they are carried. Even families and communities, what I would say is, even families, if you find a member of your family has gone into a wrong cultic movement, be very quick to alert the rest of family members so that you can rein in on the family member, or even alert the authorities so that it is stopped and it's nipped early, not waiting for it to now go where there are villages which are nicknamed different names in the Bible, and this is how they lie. False doctrine sometimes is so close to the truth that takes a very discerning person to know that the doctrine is starting to go off. Because you see, he names Samaria, names Nazareth, Bethlehem. So somebody from church atasema, kube tunaenda binguni kule Bethlehem.
But do you think then it's time for us to regulate the religious freedom of worship? Time to put, and I think you're the right person to actually ask this question, because earlier on you just said that
I'm a believer.
Yeah, you're a believer, and you're a proud believer within your mandate in government. So do you think it's honestly time that we put some order and structure to how this thing was being done?
Freedom of worship is a constitutional right.
Yeah.
And churches must self-regulate themselves in such a way that the product we end up with while we are enjoying the freedom of worship does not lead us to where Shakahola is. I am not sure whether there is any bishop or any reverend or any pastor or any archbishop or any deacon or any elder in a church or a believer in any church who would stand and say that it should be so free that even when Mackenzie does what he does, we are still saying it's a freedom of worship. That's not freedom of worship. Everything must have boundaries.
within which
Even
it
the
exists.
Bible has many boundaries. So
sure.
doesn't the Bible have boundaries?
It does. It has its
Actually, the Bible is full of boundaries.
yeah, for sure.
So even faith, even the freedom of worship must not lead people to die, wrongly.
The good must exist.
So yes, so the good, I guess the question should be, how then should we do it? And that's where self-regulation comes in first for the churches, because they have really resisted any form of regulation. And I would say that they should be, the churches and the clergy and the associations like the evangelicals, the Protestants, the Catholics, they should be among the first people to sit around the table to say, how does this right get to be enjoyed by Kenyans without anybody being risked to a point of death?
Okay. On the converse of that,
Or to a point also, even before we get to the point where Shakahola has gotten to, you see, there are also other faiths which you tell somebody you can't go to hospital. So a person will be sick, and they will die, not so much because they could have died out of that ailment, but because there is a doctrine that said you actually can't seek for medical help because we want to pray for you to be healed. And I'm not saying people don't get healed. I am a believer that God answers prayer, and I'm a believer that God heals. But God has also given wisdom to doctors that they can help you. You can go to hospital if it's malaria, or if it's you have a cold or a headache, and you'll be helped with some medication. There are also others who you tell a child, because of our faith, usiende shule. So you see, when that goes off, it goes really off, and it must be contained. We can't say we are not regulating to a point that now someone has indoctrinated a whole village, the children are not going to school. It's not acceptable, actually. And if that is the net effect of that religion, then it actually needs to be told, we are withdrawing your license if this is the effect of what you're doing.
The dangers must never exceed the good that we're trying
Yes,
to
it's supposed to be good, yeah.
For sure. Now, to some more progressive news. Ulikuwa, you were in the Dominican Republic some time back.
Yes.
Yeah, for the Kenyans watching this on TikTok, I know you've been watching so much of the Dominican Republic Sisa guy. Tell us, are we looking towards relations with Santo Domingo? Are we looking for...
Yes, Dominican Republic is a very interesting country, and I met one of the ambassadors who was representing, he was a UN rep here in Kenya, and he was also representing the Dominican Republic, and we had conversations, and they had invited our Prime Cabinet Secretary to Dominican. So he remembered we had a very good conversation about Parliament in Kenya. And so he asked the Prime Cabinet Secretary whether he would also ask us to send it to release me to join him in the mission to Dominican Republic. We had very interesting conversation. The Dominican Republic is one nation which receives so many tourists in 1 year. And they're very, it's in the Americas, it's in the Americas. Yeah. It has so many tourists every year, and it's a very interesting country to be at. And it's right next to Haiti, where Kenya has actually sent officers to assist Haiti. So it was a very interesting visit, and I was able to do conversations on how our parliament can have a caucus of friendship with the parliament in Dominican to help us do best practice in legislation, look at the women factor, the women factor. And that was just when I was also getting into KEWOSA as the chair of KEWOSA. So though we had the language issue, but we had some of them speak English. Wow. So we were having an interpreter there. But we had very fruitful engagement, and they even gave us an opportunity to meet the president
of
Dominican Republic. Wow. And they were very positive about Kenya. They were happy to open trade between Kenya and Dominican Republic. It's just that now the challenge is the distance. The distance between Kenya all the way, unless you're shipping things that are not very heavy. Those are some of the logistics that people would need to think about. It would be a perfect destination for things like coffee,
yes,
tea,
even holiday.
Yes, even holiday destination is perfect in Dominican, though our trip, our mission then was really not too long. So I did not manage to get to see much of the tourist destinations that they have. But the place is full of tourists. When we were landing, and I was able to see the electronic travel documents that we ETA, the one we have in Kenya, because I was telling them that, this is a new system we're having in Kenya, and I'm happy to see how it's working in Dominican Republic. And then I saw they had a very good system, the Ministry of Tourism. They give awards or something, some gifts, sort of. You can win a voucher by just tweeting your picture from when you're doing a holiday in Dominican Republic.
Wow.
Just the way our young people like sending pictures on social media. Yes, there, if you send,
won't let them break.
Yes, they push you into a form of a carotary of sorts, and then if you win, you get a ticket to go for holiday there.
Back. Oh, that's amazing.
So they make the tourists who visit that country to sell the country for them.
Wow.
To market online for them. In fact, I was telling our CS that we should make sure our tourists here, when they come, we borrow that leaf from Dominican Republic. We ask them to send a post something. We give them the hurdles they should tag, and then we see how they're doing and see. Yes, so that we see whether we can have more visitors, whether we can have more visitors visiting Kenya.
Kenya has an embassy in Cuba. What probably are our priorities around that in that region area within Dominican, Haiti? Of course, we have a presence in Haiti, but your area, apart from security.
By the way, Kenya has a very good mission in Cuba. Because we have very many students, Kenyan students who are in Cuba.
Wow.
Yes, there are Kenyan students in Cuba. You'll be surprised that Kenyans are everywhere across the world. And they are very good in health systems. They are very, very good. So I think Kenyans are interested in studying some of these things which are there. And when you have a sizable population of Kenyans somewhere, it's in the interest of the country and the government to make sure that they are taken care of. So the interest there in Cuba, first of all, is the exchange of expertise. Do you remember the Cuban doctors who had come to Kenya? And then Kenyans work on, Kenyans, my goodness.
Hey,
they are very quick to give feedback and they can bully people out of the territory.
Wow, we got 100 Cuban doctors for very expensive.
It was an expensive venture.
It was a very expensive venture.
Yes, so it's a very serious area of interest. In fact, Okay. And I must say, this Dominican Republic, they respect Kenyans a lot. And it would be remiss of me not to mention that, because part of the reason why they hosted us very well was because they felt that Kenya had stepped out and risked to go and assist Haiti. Because one of the challenges they're having is the insecurity there.
Along the border.
Around the border between Dominican Republic and Haiti. And I was actually told, or the history will speak, that there was a time there were even one people between Dominican Republic and Haiti. So any insecurity in Haiti can easily affect Dominican Republic. So they were very quick to ensure that that Kenya is stably supporting Haiti. And so part of the mission also was to look into how even other nations could support the mission of Kenya in Haiti. So some of the meetings that were held by Prime Cabinet was in those areas of the security operations that Kenya is having there.
Wow, sawa. Now, coming back home, kuna sheria madamu umepigana juu chini.
Yes.
Ione the light of day. The succession bill.
The amendments.
The amendments to the succession bill. Please talk to us about your vision behind these amendments and what inspired you to go for them and what you're trying to achieve with them. Let's go.
Our Law of Succession Act has had challenges because First of all, it has challenges because we have the definition of marriage, though it has fundamentally changed with the Marriage Act of 2014, where we had the monogamous marriage, then we have the polygamous, and then we have the definitions they have put in that act. Now, in that law of succession, if you look at the definition of a child, it is close to the child within the normal setup of marriage and family, and does not take into account, like, if you adopted a child. It doesn't. It has not opened up that definition that a child would include this child, or a child born out of wedlock. So that when you come to issues of succession and you're defining what the child is, you find there is a form of discrimination. Children sit within the context of what we know is family. So I was doing an amendment first to cure that, because when you have those lacunas in law, then what happens is it leaves the courts to interpret. So what I had done was to look at some of the cases that are in court, look at the gaps that the court had pointed out, and then I was trying to now bridge those gaps to make sure that the definition is defined, it's clear in law, so that when you're doing, for instance, if it's a distribution of estate of a deceased person, then you have fine definitions of who can get inheritance or who can get a benefit from that estate. So that was one. Now, the one that brought ile leta utata sasa. These children born out of wedlock. That bill got defeated by one vote, by the way.
Wow.
Then I was asking my male colleagues, now, why have you refused to vote my bill? And I'm really unhappy with you why you didn't support this amendment. They were saying, this bill, hata sisi utatufunga na hii bill. So that was one of the challenges of that bill. That's how it went underwater. But then there was also a very important aspect that I was amending in that law of succession bill. There was the aspect of the estate of the deceased person.
Yes,
if you look at the succession cases we have in Kenya, you'll find courts are full of cases of succession, especially where I come from. This region, here Mlima, Upper Central, Upper even Mount Kenya, because we have little land.
Yes, very little.
We don't have much land. So when you find, even in, you find when families are faced with a deceased person, a situation of a departed person ahead of a home, there is too much fight and acrimony and conflict.
Very small place.
And then you find there are some people who are very treacherous and they take advantage of estates of deceased persons.
Yeah.
You'll find, for instance, and allow me to quote this because it happens in many families, like the boy child you fight a lot to control, to the exclusion of the girl child. Sometimes in some of those cases. Well, nowadays you can also find the girls are really fighting. So you'll find in some, the girls are fighting to control, the boys are fighting to control. But now what happens is even worse. Sometimes even uncles can come in, or other members of the family who are not even immediate.
Yeah.
And in situations where a deceased person has left a young widow, for instance, young children, you might find the person controlling that estate is actually not an immediate dependent of the deceased person. So there is a lot of wastage that happens in those estates. Other estates, they fight until the public trustee takes over. And when it's taken over, or the other trustees who've been entrusted with that estate, there are some you've seen, I don't want to mention people's estates here, which had trustees, big estates which had trustees in Kenya. And those, the children of the deceased end up suffering, sometimes even begging school fees, when that estate could even have sustained and paid their school fees, paid their maintenance, paid their food, sorted their shelter, but it's not being done. So I found estates are being wasted too much that we needed a section that criminalizes anybody who takes unfair advantage over the widow, the orphans, and families that are vulnerable because of situation of being having a parent who has departed. So was doing with that. So it had very good clauses. In fact, the widows had been very exciting at first defended when it failed with one vote. But I have reintroduced it. I'm bringing it back. What I have now first move is the aspect of the child born out of wedlock, so that I push these amendments in piecemeal.
In piecemeal, yeah.
In piecemeal, because so that we stop having the states of the deceased persons being taken advantage of.
Kulikuwa na hii part fulani unasema up to the relatives of the 6th degree.
Yes.
What do you mean by that? Relatives of 6th degree ni wagani hawa hata?
Sasa, what happens is this. You might think it's far removed, but it's not. What happens is this. If a person dies and doesn't have, for instance, they are not married, so they are single. So you have the father and the mother. Supposing the father and the mother are not there, you jump to
grandmother,
the brothers
and sisters,
the immediate.
Yeah.
If they are not there, you go jumping down to the next person who is closest to them, very close to them, who is closest to that person. Now, what we have in the law of succession, it will, for instance, accord the father of that person the right to take over without putting the mother at the same level. So part of the amendments I was also doing was to make sure if it is that degree being handled, if you've reached that level that the person responsible or the next of kin is the father and the mother, then the law should treat the father and the mother equally. Okay? As opposed to treating the father, then the mother.
Then the mother, okay.
Do you get the difference?
Yeah, I do get the difference.
So it goes even as opposed to?
Upside.
Yeah.
Yeah, vertically.
Instead of vertical.
Yes.
It goes even for parents who are at the same level. So those were some of the issues we were sorting out. We were sorting out because when a law is made, when it's implemented and people start using it, that's when they see the gaps. And those gaps now have not been cured. As a result, they are left to different interpretations by the courts. So in this court, you'll find this interpretation. The other court, you find a different interpretation.
So ideally, what about in the case when someone has let's say they have a child out of wedlock.
Yeah.
They have their normally wedded family.
Yes.
And but they have a will that does not give their property equally to all of them. Yeah?
There is no requirement in law when you are bequeathing property in a will to make it equal. Like everybody, quarter of an acre, no. You can give one acre and another 1 quarter. And in fact, people are very descriptive in the wills.
Yes.
I'm a lawyer also, so I've done a few wills for clients. What they normally do is they will say, I'm giving John 2 acres, and because John has always taken care of me and has been very supportive when I was sick, John always made sure I go to hospital. But to Jane, I'm going to give an eighth because she's been so rude to me that I even had a mind of not giving her. People are so descriptive. These are just examples. That goes into the will. They can and say, I wish to leave this to my grandchild because I want this grandchild to reach this position in terms of education, and this is going to help them to support. You can actually give your reasoning in the will. The will only becomes
problematic.
It has issues. If, for instance, you have 3 children, and you decide you are giving 2 and you disinherit 1 completely. So meaning you can use a will and say, to Salma, I'll give 10,000 out of the savings I have. But to the rest, I'll give A and B. To this one, I will give the shares that I have in Safaricom. But to the other one, I'm giving to a vehicle. There is no requirement that they have to be exactly equal. That's what the will. So you already expressed it. And if it has met all the conditions, a will must be witnessed by 2 people. They must be dependent. They are not beneficiaries of that will. It has an executor. You know, you meet all the legal conditions. It is made that this is your last will. There is no other will after that. You know, you meet all the conditions, then you can do the will, and the estate will be distributed as per the will of the deceased person or the wishes of the deceased person. Now, when there is no will, it goes into a situation called intestacy. Means the estates in Kenya are in intestacy because, you know, people have a belief system that you will, and because of which is actually my from like my dad. You can't speak to my dad about me. He's gonna chase you out. Hawezi atasema au mnataka nikufe mchukue pesa, chukue mali yangu. So in the situation of intestacy, what happens is this taken to someone secures, if a person passes on, secures the letter of administration, appointed. If the estate has minors, you can't appoint 1 person, you appoint like 2 or 3 to of the children. Then it goes as determined by court. The court issues an for the 6 months for confirmation grant. To grant, and that's the only time to counsel this person after that the letter is issued, issued by the court. After 6 months, you go back and have confirmation of the grant. When that grant is confirmed, that's when the estate is distributed. In the distribution of that estate, this is how the court considers. Say, for instance, there are 2 pieces of land, and we have a man who had 3 wives. See, you know, in Kenya, they can even have 3 or 4. And now, they count how many children do you have. The first wife has how many children? 2. The second wife has how many? 3. So the court, you say the wife plus 2 children, those are 3 parts. It's the 3 parts. The other one, if the second one has 4 children, it's the wife and 4 children. How many parts are those? 5 parts. So it you count like that, and then the total number of dependents will be made parts that you divide the whole estate. So you might find the court has said, oh, they said the 2 properties, and then based on the number of units, how many units you have in each homestead, if the one has 4 units, 5 units, 6 units, you compile, divide. So they'll try to do what looks like equity. But finally, when distribution is being done, one might be given parcel A or parcel B because they can't quite always be equal. A land in Dagoretti will not be the same as a land in Kiambu. So you can't achieve like 100% equity. But if it's too contested, you might find the court has said, okay, sell the building, divide up
the money
equally.
Wow. It looks like succession is a very deep.
It's very deep.
Na hii notion ati wasichana wagawi mali atu watolewa atenda atolewa mali ya bwanake labda ndo yake.
Now the law of succession talks about children. It doesn't talk about boy,
gender, or which one.
It's not engendered, meaning every child has a right to that inheritance. But the problem is the culture it overrides the law because the so many girls are chased away on the basis of their marital status. Go get huko uliolewa, unataka kuchukua mali ya kule uliolewa na huku, haitawezekana. So the culture has been more active and more strong in some instances, which has overridden what should be the law. But if you go to court and you're following the law, then everybody gets a share. And I think that issue now is almost settled. I'm seeing more girls inheriting than they were inheriting before.
So, Senator, 2 more questions and then we wrap up. Question number 1, ningependa kuuliza is, see, after elections, one of the things that necessitated the broad-based government, ilikuwa Gen Z, maneno ya Gen Z. walifanya Kenya walifanya, but we've seen like quote unquote the movement or whatever it was has disappeared after. We still remember what they did, but nikaa kuna mpangilio ya vijana kisiasa kusema hivi ndio tunaenda njia mpya. So probably as someone who's worked in politics extensively, you understand what it takes to put a president in State House.
Yes.
You understand the toil it takes to bring that team together. What's your advice to everyone who was on the street if they want to have something substantial come 2027? What's your advice to the generation?
What I would say is this. Because our laws are set and our structure, the legal infrastructure is there, and the electoral laws are in place, we have frameworks that push us to any transition every 5 years. Because every 5 years, you bring in the leadership that the people want.
Yeah.
So for Gen Z to be able to even be able to negotiate on the table, first remember, you must register as a voter. Because in Kenya, the vote speaks. And if you want to speak and really want to speak on what you want in your leadership, first have your voter's card. I mean, voter's registration. Chukua kura. Enda ujisajiri. Because usipojisajiri, you will remain only making noise. Maybe you'll make noise. You can go, even if you go to the street and you didn't have the vote, even any quote you say, let it go to the ballot. Let it go to the ballot. Okay. And that is the right way, because the casting of the ballot removes any dispute insofar as the determination of leadership is. Yeah. Tena, I would advise also, again within the context of my understanding as a lawyer and as a parent, go to the big political parties, become members. If you want to determine who is the next president wherever you are, be part of a formation. If you want to become a leader, for instance, and you can see this party is working very well in a certain area, it's dominant in this region, and you want to become a leader there and change things there, go work with the ones who can propel your vision to the destiny you are going for. Because, for instance, if you go to a place where you want to become a member of parliament as a Gen Z, and you've gone and are not in any party that helps you to propel you to leadership, you are just by yourself, and the challenges you have by yourself, without any form of organizing yourself and getting organized within the context of politics. And organized within the context of politics is you are either working with people because you're looking for numbers. Kabisa. There's nothing else you're looking for. You're looking for numbers. So when you see where numbers are, go there. Run there. That's the SG saying. That's how you win.
That's how you win.
Because if you don't run where numbers are, it will become difficult. And if you choose, for instance, to go Gen Z, for you to succeed, if you have no leadership, no structure, you'll always speak in different, it will be like difficult to speak because you just speak in different languages and you'll never have a harmonized voice. Even to negotiate for your right to say, in a county, give us more budget on youth activity, give us this. You still need numbers. You still need a critical mass that is saying, we don't want our budget in the county to go like this. We want our budget in the county to go like this. So take your vote, align yourself with people who can drive your vision through the political parties. And if you are forming one, then form one. Then you say, now I'm going towards making myself heard and known, because the laws allow for the formation. But you can't just not do one of those actions and then say, I'll only speak through the streets. It won't work.
Okay. So Senator, kuna sheria moja Gen Z na imekuja na ni kama inatatiza kidogo. Ya cyber. Wanasema it's a digital gag. Wanasema hii ikipita hivi. Ati ni kama watu wamerudi zile enzi ya Moi. How do you feel about this? Is this accurate? How do you feel about it?
My once again, I think the young people should tell us why they think it's a digital gag. Myself, I think sometimes the social media has really gone overboard. That bill is trying to snip out anything that goes to transgress into another person's rights. something that goes like it comes to interfere with my boundaries. For instance, the people who've suffered a lot on this social media is women politicians. And these people wanasalimia, my eyes, they can draw you with anybody and anything.
Yes.
So there is the aspect that it can manage for everybody. And if you're sending content that is just convincing people or persuading people to a certain position, it has not gagged that, in my view.
It's just that I feel like since your sherehe come, it may force to us evolve at the same thing they were doing. Maybe they were calling you this name that was so blatant.
Yeah.
Sasa wanatafuta
ingine
moto
sasa.
Ile sasa hiyo huwezi pata ni wewe sasa.
Zipata. But I think we had reached a situation where we needed some form of control. And also, I ask myself, like the Gen Z riot, was it just the Gen Z or there were other factors that came beyond the Gen Z?
Wase pia alikuwa amejam. I think also sahi ile tension sahi.
Walikuwa wamejam sana.
Wase hiyo time. Kulikuwa tuna tension. Na wewe
walikuwa na tension.
Sasa ukitembea mtaani utapata wase wako busy, kuna msee ako na shughuli, mwingine alienda shughuli sijui kitu. Hiyo time kila msee tu alikuwa tu mtaa. Kila mtoto
wamerudi.
Kila mtu alikuwa tu mtaa.
But tunawaomba because ni watoto wetu na tunawapenda sana. Kama sasa nafanya Super Cup kule Murang'a.
Waambie kuhusu.
Murang'a, we are in the fields and I want to thank you, the young Gen Zs in Murang'a, because you've turned out for Vero Maina Super Cup and I love your energy. Na ukiangalia vile wanacheza ball, there is a way you can harness the energy of the youth for great good. They are so serious with the teams that I looked at Kandara FC and I looked at ilikuwa Wazee FC, the one that won in Kandara, one of the wards where we were hosted this weekend.
Kulikuwa timu ngapi huko?
Kulikuwa na team 101 in Kandara.
100 Kandara pekee.
Tunaenda Kigumo. The energy that I saw and the talent and the skill I've seen with the young people, I promise you these young people can take this country to great places.
Yani ini Murang'a pekee.
If we had an opportunity to tap these young people to opportunities even beyond our boundaries, imagine these young people have got talent. What we need to do is utilize this energy to build yourself, build your family, build your country. That's what that energy should do. If you see the enemy trying to cheat you, or opponents trying to cheat you, to use that energy to destroy, because it's an energy path.
Yeah.
If someone is using it for wrong purposes, as a young person, say no.
Senator, kuna watu wamejoin live sahi wanasema wanataka kusikia hiyo part ya cup tena. Rudie hiyo Super Cup maneno.
Tuko na Vero Maina Super Cup. Veronica Maina Super Cup in Murang'a County. I wish I could do it in all the counties, but the president, you do the Super Cup, his Super Cup in all the counties. We are in different wards, and we were having finals from last weekend at the ward level. To this weekend and following weekend. This weekend, we are going to Kigumo, and we'll also be in Gatanga constituencies.
Gatanga, wow.
And the young people were looking, they had so much energy. I'm so proud of them. And we are telling the young people, refuse drugs. Refuse substance abuse. Refuse mihadarati yote. Engage your energy for sport. Engage your energy for skill. We'll also later be coming with maybe computer skills.
Wow. And
I'm also very happy with there's a time we advertise for Kazi Maju. For light heavy commercial vehicles and lightweight vehicles. We advertised, they did interviews. That time they didn't succeed. They were supposed to go to Qatar. The people we had proposed did not succeed. But the last few days we are happy about 4 succeeded. So we have another 4 people from Murang'a who are going to Dubai.
Wow.
Kazi Maju. And I want to say, when you see the government saying Kazi Maju, don't ignore. If you see
Tafuta passport.
Tafuta. And for the time being, our young people are our great resource. They are our great energy in this country. And that resource, when you hear somebody saying, at usiende kazi kufanya nje, that is not correct. The country of Jordan, you know this country Jordan,
the kingdom
There's a time the king of Jordan had nothing else in the country except people. They didn't have any raw materials. They didn't have much resources. And he looked and he saw, I saw his interview, he looked and he saw the only resource God had given that country was young people who were educated. He decided if he helped them to become expatriates in the region, they would earn, and they became very rich courtesy of that. So for our young people, it's not that we would want our young people to be out permanently. Even if you go work a few years and come back to Kenya,
Tutakuwa mbele sana.
Tutakuwa mbele. Na tena hizo remittances zinasaidia wazee sana hapa.
Muhimu sana.
Muhimu sana, and we appreciate you, even the diaspora team.
All right. So, speaking on Murang'a before tufunge, kuna kwanga na hiki kitu inaendelea Murang'a na ni very unique to Murang'a. I'd like you to speak to it. Hiki ni Murang'a Youth Service. How does it work? Like, you go to other counties, I think ya Murang'a pekee ndo ime stand out. Ya Murang'a,
I can't speak much about it because it's being run by the county government of Murang'a.
Okay.
That's the one that you should maybe invite Irungu Kang'ata, Governor Irungu
Tusaidie kumpata tafadhali.
Nitamwambia to speak about it because he supports the young people to do those jobs. They are simple jobs because they are simple jobs that they clean up the cities, they do the garbage, they do the greening, and then part of the money they get, they have an arrangement where they give some to the parents.
Wow.
Yeah, they give a share. I don't know whether it's 100 or 200 shillings. They give a share to the parents, but I'm not an expert in that.
Okay.
And I've not managed to go to the graduation cohorts, so maybe he can be best placed to speak about it.
Sasa, sorry. Senator.
Becoming a waziri.
Yes, you will become a waziri now.
Are you prophesying?
Yes, I am. So, Senator, now when you, let's say when you DM a meeting, for the first time when I negotiate na Uburu Odinga, maybe, my question probably will be, what do you think it takes to have a UDA-ODM marriage come 2022? Come 2027?
Come 2027?
Yeah.
I would say, in politics, anything is possible. You know that. You can't rule out anything. That can happen.
Yeah.
But it will depend with how ODM transitions now. You see, the one who is transitioning now is ODM.
Yeah, I see.
UDA had its own issues.
Transitions.
Sasa it has settled a bit. Imetulia. Now it's how the ODM transitions and how the shockwaves of the departure of the party leader. Sadly so. How the shockwaves settle.
Okay.
Once it settles and it's calm, and there is something on the negotiation table, then everything is possible.
Okay. Senator, last words to the nation.
Mine is to just say that we are very proud of Kenyans, and we are very happy with the many things that you have been participating in, working very hard. And even those who are really inspiring every day, who wake up in the morning, who go to work, who fit in, in the vision that the government is having, and even those who don't fit in, because there are some who don't fit in, we are united by one thing, that we are all Kenyans, and only love can win in every situation. So let's be peaceful. Let's accept that at any one time, a country can only have one leader. And our leader right now is President William Ruto. And we must pray for him, support him, make sure he succeeds, because when he succeeds, we succeed. If he fails, he will not fail alone, by the way. He would fail with all of us. So let's pray for our president, we pray for our government, because as we work together, for some reason, Psalms 133, God is very, very pleased to bring a blessing where there is unity. So let's be united so that we are also strong enough to support the nations around us. You see, right now, we didn't expect Tanzania to be in crisis. And I was telling my friends, let's also pray for Tanzania, because if there is a crisis in Tanzania, they might be our visitors here. But we do not want them to be our visitors in Kenya. Tunataka waishi kwao, wanafanya kazi nzuri kwao. We wish them all the best. They have their challenges. But let's pray that even our neighbors, just like our national anthem says, even our neighbors be at peace.
Be at peace.
Yeah, so that we can all be at peace.
All right, there you have it. That was episode 28 of the Mufasa podcast. For me, my parting words are very simple. when you sit with kings and when you sit with common men, do not lose that which holds humanity together, the common fabric of everyone, God being the maker of them all. Remember, our East African national anthem inasemanga, e Mungu tuwaomba uilinde jumuiya yetu ya Afrika Mashariki. Santeni sana, tuonane next time. Thank you.